Hello everyone, I'm Black Marvin. I'm a progressive psychedelic trance artist. I'm a professional sound designer, and I'm also a teacher for electronic music production. Today we're going to do an overview of the pack Exogenesis For Vital, which is a Psytrance preset pack. Because showing you all the 100 preset of the pack would take too much time, I'm going to show you some of the iconic presets of the pack. And also I'm going to explain you the mindset behind creating the pack and creating these presets. Although this pack has been created with the whole psychedelic theme in mind, Psytrance is far from being the only genre that you can produce with this pack. You can produce psychill, psytech, any techno actually with just a little bit of tweak and creativity. You can get some really good sounds. And that's actually an old trick in the book to whenever you're trying to get a new sound, a fresh take on a genre. I've sometimes used some drum and bass samples in my Psytrance track, for example, to really get a fresh twist. So I encourage you, maybe if you're not necessarily a Psytrance producer, try to run these presets also in your tracks. You might get some really cool surprises. Anyway, that was my little tip for you. If you want more content about Vital, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Also, the link to the pack itself is in the description. And now let's dive into Exogenesis For Vital. All right, we'll start with the bass. So this one is called Classic, and it's really what it is. It's the classic bass, the one you can hear in any tracks. And there's also other basses, and since there's a lot of bass that just exist and are available right now, I didn't felt like making, let's say, 5 or 6 basses really similar to this one. So the other ones, they are, yes, of course, Psytrance basses, but they have different color, different approach, because really that's the classic bass. And it's not a recipe that you can spice up like 1,000 times. There's different processing that you can put. There's different approach, different colors, but in the end, it's still a saw wave with a filter on it, right? So this is the MIDI pattern I'm going to play with the basses, very standard 3-bass bassline pattern. So first, let's hear this classic bass without any processing. There's not even sidechain yet, so it does sound a bit weird, but already sounds legit. And one thing I wanted to do is to have the basses gain stage properly and ready to enter your favorite processing chain. For example, I'm gonna go ahead here and load my favorite bass processing chain at the moment. This is one of my favorite. So there's a multipass. There's a IVGI saturation. There's a Bridson channel, which is another type of saturation. There's an EQ here, analog style EQ. And there's a duck at the end. That's, usually a very good starting point for processing. After in the mixing stage, in mixing and mastering stage, there's other stuff that is done. But usually that's already a great processing chain to kick off things, because when the bass is coming from a synthesizer, you need to process it. It's not like when you're using audio. I really recommend to, there's some processing that you need to do on the bass to make it sound professional, to make it sound like a, industry standard bass. Also, just a little side note, this is the kick I'm currently running. It's the Tel Aviv kick from the Camphor Audio pack. It's in my opinion, that's the best kick around for progressive psychedelic trance, at least, and up to my taste. So it's it's debatable for sure, but shout out to Camphor Audio. It's one of the best kicks around. So that's the kick I'm running here to demonstrate that. Now back to the bass. Let's hear the bass going through my favorite processing chain. And for each bass, there's a macro with little tweaks here and there. And by the way, in this pack, if you open the preset and the macro is already set up in a specific position, it's because I wanted it to be there for a specific reason. But then feel free to adjust it to your taste. So I'm going to keep the exact processing chain, and I'm going to show you 2 other basses that I really like. This one is called Lemuria, and it has a bit of a different approach. I would say more for progressive psychedelic trance, very towards the progressive styles.
It is like fat and it takes a lot of space, so it's going to sound very well on lower BPMs. And it sounds like this. Like you can hear, the macros for bass are very precise. They are small changes. There's a soft down sample happening here. You can unchoke, play with the decay, but really different bass, but interesting flavor. I've used that in some tracks. And the last one, the boxy bass. Again, I would say this one is very good for anything that is slanted towards progressive psychedelic trance, although I'm sure you can use that on some faster BPM stuff. Let's hear it. And that's it for the basses. You can discover the rest inside the pack. Now in the pack, there's an extensive collection of Zaps style effects / leads. You know, in Psytrance, something can be a lead, something can be an effect. Really depend on you arrange it and you process it. So yeah, Zaps, if you hit a long note, it's going to create a long sweeping effect. And if you just hit them quickly, you can create some grids, some stabs, some leads. Let's hear a couple of Zaps. That's the Zap Exorcist. Indigo. Universal Gravitation, and I'm gonna play this one quite high. In this one, you can really hear the glassy tendencies of Vital being shown on this preset. There's some more intense one like the Stargate. There's Liquid Chaos. And yeah, that's it for the Zaps, but there's a bunch of them. There's some soft ones, some more intense, some that tends to be a bit more towards the current trends in Psytrance, and there's some really creative and crazy stuff that you can, make your own. In this pack, I chose to include only 5 sequences, and we're talking about the classic definition of a sequence. There are some leads that are some sequence in and of themselves, but this is more of the classic definition of sequence. And the reason why there's only 5 of them is because I wanted to focus on usability for this pack. And although a sequence is very impressive, when you play it, it's like, wow, it's complex and there's a lot of stuff happening. It's quite hard for the user to make it fit properly inside a track, especially for users that are beginning in Psytrance production. They have this very cool sequence, but they want to expand that into more than just a preset, and they can't, because they're not able to. And even for myself, like as a sound designer, if I find a very cool sequence, in order to make it mine and make it fit into my track, it takes a certain amount of tweaks, and you kind of really know what to tweak in order to get something cool. So that's why there's only 5 sequences. There's a lot of complex presets, complex and intricate presets, but only 5 sequences. But let's hear one of them. And this one is Dust Devil. Before we go into the pads, I wanted to highlight that all the presets are made from Fractal Sounds wavetables. So it helps having a unique sound for the pack. They are either made from the Quantum Fold wavetables, or the Prophecy style analog wavetables, or from a wavetable pack that is not out yet. So there's even wavetables that are not released yet. They're only available through the pack as, baked into the presets. So I wanted to highlight that. Now the pads. I'm proud of this section. I think they're quite unique and quite expressive pads. Vital has this tendency to go towards some really crystalline sounds, and it still won't sound so harsh. It sounds quite clean. So that's really cool. So yeah, let's see how this shines into the pad section. This is the Vital Hollows, and this one is quite mean and dirty, and I'm gonna play it 1 octave higher. here is Lumodynamics. Now I'm going to play it lower, and that's something you should always try. You'll see that a pad, when it's played on a high note and when it's played on a low note, it almost is not the same sound. There's a couple of ways that I use to get that sound, but one of them is the quantum fold wavetables here. You can see that it's running. Yeah, and there's the basic shape, very complex, but yeah. These two are powering the sound, as well as, there's say, so yeah, it's really, because I was actually expecting to see a lot of stuff going on because it sounds quite, complex, but it's really like wavetable action, harmonic stretch. I might dissect this one into another video. If you want to, let me know in the comments. Now it's time to go to the leads because I want to expand on the pads, but there's just so much stuff to show. So I need to focus and show you the iconic stuff, although all the presets are made in this mindset and actually they're all unique. So this one is called Slip and Slide. We are in the lead section and you'll hear like intuitively that there's a couple of style of leads. There's one that are made to generate grids, generate, bleeps and bloops and stuff that is right in your face. There's other leads that are made to, be played for a longer time, stretched, sequenced, resampled. So there's different types of lead and I'm going to show them to you. But this one is really good to make grids and something that stabs right in your face. Gonna play it lower. For this one, it's already cool, but I would definitely suggest that you run it through your favorite multi-effects processor. Now this one, Papillonidae, it's a sequence lead that already sounds good on its own. There's a cutoff grid, thin and flangy macros for you to tweak on. So it already sounds good out of the box. But for this one, I can also suggest if you had your filter sweeps, favorite filter sweeps and favorite distortion on it, it's going to react really good and create some nice soundscapes. This one, Pieces of Mind, you can use it in multiple ways. First, you'll see I'm going to hit some short stabs on the keyboard and it's going to create some nice stuff. And since there's a lot of random component, you can hit multiple stabs and it won't give you the same result. And also after that, you can also just use in a sustained fashion, a sustained note. And again, similar to the other one, you can run some multi-processing, some filter sweeps in it, and you can create some long soundscapes. So multiple uses this one. Let's start with stabs. So I'm just getting different results from stabbing it. So I would definitely recommend that you record that and you can resample that or resequence that to your taste after. And then I'm just going to hit this sustain note. This one, FMDMA, it's a really gritty and powerful stab that you can use in your tracks. It's like a wall of FM just raining down on your ears. Again, so many ways that you can use it, and I'm going to show you a little trick here. A lot of the presets on this pack and in the Fractal Sounds pack, the first macro is actually a cutoff and it's articulating the whole preset. So an easy manipulation to do is to get a random here that is not used, drag it over there on the cutoff. And like I said, since the cutoff, it's like articulating the whole preset, you'll probably get an interesting reaction just by doing that. So now let's hit the note. And if I get a sample and hold, let's say 1/8. So now the preset is like even more automated, although it's sometimes fun to have access directly to the cutoff and to tweak it and create your own automations. That's why it's built that way in these presets. For the last lead, I'm going to show Chromizol, which sounds really good for nighttime psytrance, and it covers all those high frequencies tweaks, high frequencies, pews that you need sometimes in psytrance, and it sounds like this. Again, you can use it as a sustain node or just put in some stabs and create some grids and intricate patterns with it. In this pack, there's 5 grid-specific presets. Like I mentioned in a couple of occasions already, you can make some nice grids from all the leads available, but the grid presets are much more atonal than the leads. That's pretty much the difference. Very atonal and even more glitchy. So this one is Micro Meteor. And I'm going to reveal a technique here that I used during the creation of this pack for some of the presets, especially some of the grids, to get some really cool atonal results like this. This preset is sourcing an audio from the Sludge Grid and Synth sample pack from Fractal Sounds. It is a micro pack of 200 presets. There's some loops, some stabs, some synths there, and it's really, really, really grid oriented and also with a very sludgy aesthetic. And this pack of sound was created using a multipass preset pack from Fractal Sound called Sludge. Anyway, it's like it's like a grid sludgeception. But yeah, really, it's like just like some proper resampling and proper uses of sound. And so yeah, this one is already a glitched kind of audio. So inside Vital, we are resequencing it in a very creative and effective way, and as you can hear, the result is very cool. And finally, I'm going to show an acid preset which is called Mild West. Remember when I said that in this pack there are some wavetables that are not released yet? Well, it's the case here. Well, actually, at the moment where I filmed this video, they are not released, but if you're watching 1 year from now, you'll probably get access to these, but like for a moment they won't be available yet. So this preset is fueled by 2 crazy acid wavetables. And it sounds like. Okay, I know I said the last one was the last one, but I cannot not show you this one. This one is called Exogenesis. And similar pattern, this one is fueled by 2 acid wavetables that are going to be available in the pack called Acid Splash Wavetables. It's a really cool acid bark with some crazy psychedelic randomness to it. So I will have to stop now and I will leave you to discovering the whole pack for yourself.
And that's it for this video. Sadly, I feel like I've barely scratched the surface, so I'm possibly going to do a stream about this pack, you know, a live stream producing with this pack. And even then, I think I will still feel like I'm scratching the surface. But anyway, the pack is yours to discover. If you want to learn more about electronic music production, sound design, you would want to learn how to create presets like this for yourself or even commercially, there's that information inside my community of students in either a group format or a one-to-one lessons. There's a lot of educational content there. So if you're interested, you can slide into my Instagram DMs and we can discuss how I can help you. And either way, I'm gonna see you in another video. I wish you happy producing. See you soon.